Hello, I'm Mark and I am from Europa Landscaping Products. What makes us unique is that we have developed a system where you can have dry laid tiles outdoors for vehicular and pedestrian traffic. For hardscapes and for tile pavers, being in the hardscape, this is going to be new for most people, for contractors and homeowners alike, and there's lots of questions that come with it. One of them being is, how do we keep these tiles stable? How do we keep them from spreading apart or moving apart? One of the key components that we use at every corner of the tiles where they all meet is this unique spacing disc. This disc provides the right joint to go between each of the tiles, and it also provides a lot of surface area for adhesive. Essentially, once the tiles are laid into here, into adhesive, the whole patio or driveway or whatever it may be, essentially it is one piece when the job is finished. This helps for just stability and the movement that could happen with the freeze-thaw cycles. Outside of that, the most important part to keep these jobs together is the aluminum edging that goes around the perimeter. What makes this installation unique is, in addition to the gravel base, we have a plastic geogrid layer. This geogrid layer essentially locks together like puzzle pieces and is under the complete surface of all of our tile paving system. Initially, we incorporated this geogrid layer into our system so that it could sustain vehicular traffic. But in doing so, we found that the base that we put underneath it could be cut in half. So essentially now we can do almost half the excavation for any job that we do, which has many beneficial effects for the environment: less excavation, less packing, less transportation, less diesel, so on and so forth. But again, initially, this plastic layer we used as more of a cushioning effect to withstand the heavier traffic, to avoid the breakage of the tiles. After we put in our cell filled with the 1/4 inch gravel, we now have a 1/2 inch layer of concrete sand. Due to two factors: it has a larger sieve size than your brick sand, allows for drainage. It's not too coarse that it acts as a fulcrum under the tiles, which would contribute to breaking. It's soft enough and hard enough. In addition to our base system, and equally important, is our jointing system. This was one of the bigger challenges. Took me the last year in the 4 years of developing this system, was to find a polymeric sand that would stick to smooth surfaces of the rectified sides of a smooth porcelain tile, and due to the fact that it's very shallow, that it would hold in place and wouldn't migrate out with freeze-thaw or with the compression of vehicular traffic. Took lots of testing. We worked closely with one of our sand manufacturers, and we came up with a solution that I'm proud to say will stay in place, will not wash out easily, and does bond well to the porcelain. In addition to our porcelain paving systems, and in response to demand from different designers over the years, we tried to address the challenge of doing what we did on the ground, off the ground. This aluminum structure that I'm holding in my hands right now, this is something that we usually would normally rest on top of pedestals. And it got me thinking, why can't I just screw this into the top of a deck and attach our tiles to that? And that's really how it all began. Once we had the substructure up to the joists, we then installed our aluminum stringers, if you will, as the third tier, 90 degrees to the joists. These simply just get screwed into place and go directly into the wood. Again, the fact that we're using aluminum in its response to freeze and thaw cycles, there's not a lot of environmental impact on this as you would have with wood, as it's very stable and it is not going to twist, it's not going to rot, and it's not going to warp, which essentially is the only thing that the tiles are sitting on. As this is our last layer before it contacts the tiles, we're very careful to fasten it securely, but not over fasten it, allowing sub-movement of wood underneath the aluminum. As you take a look here closely, there is also some rubber inserts that we have in this aluminum structure. This allows the tiles to sit on the cushion of the rubber In the center of this profile, you'll notice there's a space. This allows for one of many of our different accessories that we insert into the space that allow for spacing of the tiles. We have a cross for spacing, pieces to hold the tile off the wall, pieces to hold the bottom of the tile in a vertical application, so on and so forth. It's very versatile. Again, great product for the outdoors with the temperature fluctuations, and just a good stable product. And again, being aluminum, this is something that's never gonna rot in your lifetime. You're gonna find it a lot easier to only put down your first 2 rows of aluminum, install your first row of tile, and as you install each subsequent row of tile, put the aluminum in as you go, so to speak. That way, if there's any discrepancies with the spacing that you've allowed for the tiles, or if it's a little further out or further in than you thought it might be, you can allow for that by installing the aluminum as you go. As opposed to typical decking applications, the tiles are actually not fastened into place. They're simply laid on top of the aluminum tracking and they're held in place by gravity. In terms of wearability and potential damage, one of the tiles should break. Is it easy to replace? They're easy to lift out and to put a new one in. In our research process and in our troubleshooting, we also had concerns about having a 2-centimeter product that high off the ground should the tile break and the danger of someone falling through. To address the concern of tile breakage, we have 2 options. We can apply a thin set to the back of the tile and apply a fiberglass mesh, similar to that which is applied to the back of granite countertops. In this case, we applied a metal screen on top of the joists, holes on 1/2-inch center, a very strong galvanized welded screen. Should any of the tiles break due to the dropping of a heavy object, that the tile would essentially be caught in the net of the screen. Another concern we had with the developing of this system was the surface itself. Would tiles be slippery in the winter when it got wet? There is actually a difference between the outdoor tiles and the indoor tiles. Outdoor tiles have that which is referred to as a coefficient of friction factor. It's an R value. These tiles have an R11 value. When you see that on the box of the tiles that you buy, that will indicate to you that this is a slip-free surface. And we have found that as well. With my background in landscape design and construction, in marketing and offering different types of structure and practicality in terms of the landscape for your customers, it gives you more options. You're not just having to be limited by paving stones, concrete, and a wood deck. You can now offer your clients the option of porcelain. Different homes, different architectural styles lend themselves to different design possibilities, and now we're able to meet some of those requirements, whereas in the past perhaps we were not able to. In addition to producing and supplying the porcelain paving system and the decking system, we also do all of the fabrication in-house for all of your mitering and epoxying to produce steps and corners and waterfall effect edges. We feel that in creating the system, we're offering something innovative and new for deck builders, for homeowners alike, that just simply wasn't available before in terms of aesthetics and longevity. Porcelain by nature is impervious to stains, very, very low absorption rate of water. This is something that simply, it looks beautiful and it's going to last you a long, long time.